All right. Thank you once again for joining me today. I am on LinkedIn, better known as LinkedIn, and the battle over surveillance continues. I thought this article was interesting by Jalan Modi here. I don't know him. He just popped up on my feed, and it's an interesting article. So we've been talking about, before we get into it though, we've been talking about Anthropic and its battle with the Pentagon. But now here we go into some shade from our good old friend Zuck at Facebook. And here we go. Let's get into it. A 1.5 trillion company just turned 7 million bedrooms into training data. Last week, Swedish newspaper Svenska Dagbladet and Göteborgs-Posten published a joint investigation. Meta contractors in Nairobi arrive at the workstations each morning at a company called Sama. Video footage from Ray-Ban AI glasses captured in bedrooms, bathrooms, kitchens, etc. arrives on their screens for manual labeling. Excuse me. So let's just go, you buy these VR glasses, which are really cool. I want to get a pair, not of Meta glasses now, but of some kind of VR glasses, so that way I can free up a lot of real estate as far as monitors and stuff. Like buying 3 or 4 monitors versus buying VR goggles or VR glasses, if they can properly push out some monitors. And that's pretty cool. That's a workspace you can take with you on a plane, to a coffee shop. But anyway, I digress. Let's continue on. Meta's marketing shows people at concerts, hiking trails, dinner parties, lifestyle content for the main character area. The TOS terms of service tell a different story. You agree to share data with Meta servers. Buried deeper, humans may manually review your footage. Look at this. That's why we've got terms of services now that are like essentially like Bibles. They're just like huge. And another side rant is if you violate the terms of service, they just say you violated the terms of service. They don't tell you where. It'd be like a police officer pulling you over for a ticket or giving you a fine for something, and they just say, well, check out the legal code. It's in there somewhere. So again, what this shows is that um, there needs to be a broader debate about privacy. Like first we had Anthropic versus the Pentagon, and that's more of what constitutes a lawful use because there might be some things that need to be shown up there. Uh, Anthropic's beef is they didn't want their LLMs to be involved with autonomous systems that kill people, Skynet type things, and they also didn't want stuff to be involved with mass surveillance. Both of those, even though I'm very pro-military, pro-American, um, the there's huge ramifications for both of those things, and there should be a larger discussion. Let's flush out what lawful uses actually are. Let's revisit that in a public space. A lot of the protections that were built in through congressional passed laws are more about the technology when it was pre-LLM. So it's a good time to revisit this. And now we have it on the corporate side here, where Meta, it just sold, say 7 million of these glasses here, and now they're all spyware. I mean, you could say it's kind of not nefarious. They're just grabbing all your data so they can train it. But would you be cool with, say, all your data going to China or all your data going to Iran? And Iran, the Iran glasses just saying, hey, we're just training your data. And then there's here talking about Cambridge Analytica harvested 87 million profiles. There similar things have happened by other political groups that's still ongoing. Um, he goes through a bunch of things with AI stuff. Workers in Kenya watch you undress. I remember with the Amazon thing, whatever their music or not music, but their voice activated thing was, their Siri equivalent. I'm sure this happens with Siri. I forget what it was called. It flashed to me, but I forgot. There's cases where they found people whose voice recordings were just recorded all over the place. And of course, it'll be anonymized and just used for training. But, that anonymization is optional behind the scenes, and it's also loose. Like, oh yeah, we made your data anonymous. You're just number 3265530 AB647Z0 or some GUID. But it, there's enough detail in it so that other information systems can look at you and say, oh, I know who that GUID is. That GUID is, CyberMage AI. So here again is a call to go out and really firm up what corporations and government are allowed to do with AI when it comes to surveillance. This might be fine, but if it probably wouldn't be too fine with me if I was doing this. And I would have known, I should have known better. This whole abuse of like, who knows what's in these TOSs? No one reads them. There should be a law here that kind of gives like a breakdown of the key points that a rational person would think would be relevant, not mountains of legalese where it's like at the bottom, it's like, oh yeah, I sell my soul to Satan too, buried in there. It's like, come on, guys. Our societies can do better than this. And here it is. First we had Anthropic versus the Pentagon, and now we have just data bleed all the time about how surveillance and stuff is being abused, how stuff's being scraped, and there needs to be legal clarification here. So let's do it before this lizard guy gets you. I know it was a cheap shot.